Willie, man, so you always talk about the role models that our young people have, and specifically for young women, specifically young Black African American women, especially when it comes to entertainers. I think now we're in that age where you're starting to see a lot of positive stuff, but a trend that has not left is the over sexualization of our Black female entertainers,
Yep.
specifically rappers. It's I would say for the most part, you see a lot more of them being over sexualized than the singers. And so I want to talk about this video that Normani just dropped yesterday. It had Cardi B as her feature, and to a man it looks great. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, it may
just
look
like,
quite delicious to some men.
oh man,
But
everything.
like, let's just throw this out here real quick, just
Go ahead.
so you know, this is not us dissing anyone. This is not us trying to disrespect anyone, but this is us bringing awareness and trying to make sure that we still stay woke, as people say. So it's not us disrespecting, not us trying to put them down. It's just us trying to make sure everyone understands what the system and what the world, the picture they have painted for years, and they're trying to continue to paint for our Black women.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna tell you what's funny. So I was listening to a playlist yesterday, even before the video dropped, and that song was on the playlist. And when I heard Cardi B's verse, I was like, I started thinking to myself, like, what do like a respectable dude will want a chick that talks like that? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
no.
Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, in the bedroom with you and your lady, y'all may say some things, but for the most part,
To the world, it's like, wow.
that doesn't sound as attractive. Now, maybe to these young dudes, but do you really take a girl like that serious? So
Uh,
when I looked at the video, I immediately thought about you because we're not the only ones watching the video.
mhm.
They have a lot of female fans, particularly young female
Young.
fans. I'm sure my mom isn't a fan, or your mom isn't a fan, but younger, from teens to young, early 20 type age group, they look at them and they also want to mimic them.
Yep.
So I just want to get your thoughts on that, man, because this is something that we talk about as far as having somebody to set an example for you and set an example for the young women in our culture. What was your thoughts when you saw that video as it pertains to that?
Um, taking my the flesh and me being a man out of it, obviously. But like on a serious note, I don't understand or get how long we're going to accept the fact that people like Taylor Swift, um, and other white artists, they don't have to portray themselves to win Grammys or to be on the top of billboards or to rap about nasty things or to have to be exposing themselves. They just do just fine. And I just think, eventually we have to come together and say, no, like we're not going to accept being, being puppets, having to go out there and expose ourselves. Like they don't protect our Black, like the industry has shown us time and time again, they're not going to protect us, and they're definitely not going to protect our Black women. They're not pushing the positivity of people like her. They're not pushing it, but they're constantly pushing and shoving in your face half naked women, half naked, just not even half naked, like completely naked. That wasn't even half naked. That
Yeah,
was
bro.
like,
That last scene, and I'm gonna tell you something. That last scene, I felt like they were pushing a different agenda with two women being on
yeah,
each other. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
there's actually other videos with other music artists that following that same agenda, very, very similar. Women on women, which obviously they're trying to make the LGBT community more acceptable and more accepted within our culture. So you put it in music, you put it in film, you put it on TV, you put it on social media to make it more acceptable. And I'm not here to judge anyone, But what I'm saying is that there is an agenda at work. And so that same song, the music, I've heard songs that talk about sex that had a completely different type of look when it came to the actual music video, you know.
And I'm not buying the fact that, that's just the way it is. Because let's be honest, man. We talk about this all the time, Price. If all of our people, our black people say, man, we not making no more music, there literally would be no music. There would be no music.
Well, okay,
So
that
because
I don't know.
so I put it like this, right? It'll be hard for music to survive if all of African Americans, or even just you think about Nigerian music, like if just people of color decided to say, until this change, we're not doing this event, we're not doing that, it would change because they push the needle. Like I know a
Yeah.
lot of people have big audience, but like we just can't keep sitting back allowing it to be this way. Like I have a daughter and there's young kids coming up, and you trying to show them to value this about you, self-value, value yourself. We speak of that about that a lot. Your self-worth. But if they're seeing this on TV, they're gonna think that's what self-value is. They're gonna think that's what self-worth is. Getting out there, being half naked, talking about things in the open that, like you said, you should be talked about with your spouse and behind closed doors.
Man, it's interesting you said that because you're right. We set the trends of the culture, right? And I want to say hip hop is the number one export from this country, and it's ironic. Um, Hip hop started what in the 70s, 80s era, so it's really not that old. It's definitely younger than rock, and it's way more popular than rock is now. But if you notice, every time you get a hot wave of black artists in that same genre, you see white artists coming in and they try to put them on top of the white artists, from publicity to media and tours and branding and all that kind of stuff. So, like, yeah, if you look at, just take rap music, that's why you got all these white rappers now all of a sudden. And I'm not trying to take anything away from them, but even Eminem said it. He said, if my skin was black, I would have sold half. I didn't have to graduate from my high school to know that, right? Even J. Cole said it. He said, if my skin was more pale, would I then sell like Eminem or Adele?
Mm.
Right? Because we know that they push those artists because of their skin tone. But yeah, I mean, as far as trending is concerned, so that's why they try to get white people in those spaces so quickly, because they know that we move needle. They know that we change culture. But yeah, they're not trying to put their daughters in those positions being over sexualized. They'll do it with a couple. So I mean, to your point, I have seen some Taylor Swift videos with her wearing a lot less clothing and showing way more skin. But to the extent of the Normani and Cardi B video, no.
They
And
would never let her step out there like that.
well, I mean, she's kind of at the point where she can do whatever she wants now because she is that big. But for most
But
of
I
those
guarantee you, they'll
artists,
have a talk like, "Hey, listen, this is not the image we want from you. You can step out a little bit, but let's not go like behind closed doors." I believe those talks are had or
well,
had.
it might be, but I'm saying like where she is now, you're not going to tell her anything because she controls her own. I don't even know if she's signed anymore, but I mean, the point is, yeah, if you're a newer artist, they'll probably have that talk. But when you're as established as her and sold 100 million records, it's very little you're gonna say to me. You know what I'm
Man,
saying?
which so and then I'm gonna say this. This is my last point. One, it's gonna be somebody after Cardi B. We know the trend. Once Cardi B is done and she wants to go do other things, they'll find a next colored black girl and push her as the next sex symbol. So,
Well, if you notice, bro, and I'm sorry to interrupt,
okay,
um, R&B music is turning into that now. So R&B used to be a lot more clean, but if you notice, the Normani, Tiana Taylor, like they're crossing over in their music videos, where the over sexualization of the female rappers is now becoming the over sexualization of the female singers.
okay. So I remember watching. Do you remember the movie Above the Rim?
Classic movie.
So Pac was the gangster in that movie, right? A lot of people don't know this. I watched the interview. I don't know how it came across my YouTube. Shout out to whoever posted it, but Pac was doing that movie, and that was right after he did Juice. I think it was right after he did Juice. So John Singleton, the great legendary John Singleton, called him. Was like, "Hey man, I have a role for you. This is a different role. Don't do that role. They don't care about you. All they want you to do is to do these gangster roles because that's how they look at you." Pac needed the money because he was in some legal issues right then and there, so he needed that money right then and there. And John could not provide him with the cash. But John, what stuck out was John told him like, "Hey man, you see the roles that they're giving you. This is how they see you. Don't take that. I have a role for you that it's gonna be you're gonna be the main star, and it's not a thug role. It's not a gangster role. It's gonna be something different." And it just took me to a place where like, wow, they really will label you. They'll put you Hollywood, white Hollywood will find a black. And shout out to the people because there's a lot of black actors that won't take certain roles. They won't take certain roles where they're gonna die, and they won't take certain roles where they're
Where now go ahead and say it. Where they not gonna be a nigga.
Where they not gonna be a nigga. So it just to me it stuck out that point was John was like, "Yo, Pac, this is how they look at you." And that's how they look at us. And I guarantee you, this goes back to the conversations. You'll find that young, beautiful black girl, and they'll know she wants to get on and she's talented. And they'll say, "Hey, I know you want to sing about this. I know you want to rap about this, but this is what's in now. If you put these shorts on, they're a little bit skimpy, you'll sell more. If you add this lyric in here about you doing this to this gentleman, it'll sell more to get you at the charts more." And to me, that's fucked up because they're using her dream, her aspiration of getting on. They're using that to make because she's trying to get on. This is right here what she's been waiting for. So they're tweaking it behind the scenes, adding the benefits for them and making sure they have another young black girl in that spotlight. So after Cardi B, after Megan Thee Stallion, it's gonna be the next one that we're gonna shove in your face and have her doing this. When all naturality, when she first came into the business, that wasn't even the route that she wanted to go. It's just that you basically told her, you'll sell, but you may not sell as much. But if you sell this, if you sell your stuff like that, you'll go all the way to the top. And I guarantee you, I don't think they're having those conversations with white artists. I'm done.
Man, so I'm glad you brought up that point. I'm glad you brought up that point. And a shout out to all the artists who aren't selling out and selling their souls or selling their morals just to be able to get a paycheck. But there's another part of that too that I want to mention. It's like if you're teaching that to these girls and they're doing it, and then our girls are looking up to them, imagine how the boys are looking at them.
Oh,
right. Yeah. So there's no way you're gonna tell me that I'm seeing all this ass on screen. The girls want to be like that, and I'm a young man, teens or whatever, and I'm looking at you like you good and wholesome. I'm not gonna be looking at you like that. I'm gonna be looking at you the same way I look at these music videos, especially to a raging, hormonal teenager, teenage boy, and you're dealing with a group of people who looks up to them. So how are you going to look at them? And unfortunately, in our culture, that's how a lot of us as men look at our women. We look at them as objects of desire. We don't look at them as, she could be the mother of my children. She could be my life partner. She could be my queen. We look at them as a place to satisfy lust. And that thought process, obviously natural, we're going to be attracted to each other, but with the way we look at our women, and then you got to go into the male rappers, how they disrespect the women, right? So you're looking at that, you're hearing this, and you expect me to respect you. That's part of the agenda, which keeps our culture divided. So no, we don't look at each other. I'm not looking at you as a young man, as a woman who could be great, who could accomplish all these things. In fact, if I talk to you about that, you might call me a square, right? If I'm trying to talk to you about starting a business and going to college and becoming successful, and I can become successful without having to be an entertainer or an athlete, you're gonna look at me like I'm stupid because that's what they're emitting within the culture.
Yep. And it's one last point I'm gonna make, and I promise I'm done after this. And you know, when we were younger, like you said, you see these women on TV. So as a young man, you thinking, hey, this is the type of girl I'm supposed to have. That's the type of girl I want. So like women, if you want to be mad at anything about the way guys value women these days, don't be mad at us. Be mad at the examples that you have setting, because now it's not cool to date the young, wholesome house girl that respects herself. No, you need a girl that's up there shaking that ass. You need a girl that's up there with them booty shorts on, to the point, like you said, it ain't cool. You a square if you don't have one, if you don't like it. So it's not all on the men. You got to look at the examples that's being set, ladies.
Bro, it's funny you say that, and I'll say this last, right? So you and I both grew up in church, right? And so in church, they give you examples of people in the Bible as far as spouses, right? And you look at that culture where the girls were most likely virgins
Mm-hmm.
and probably had no experience with boys and whatnot. And even when she lost her virginity, to lose your virginity in that culture, you lost it as a way to seal the marriage. So you lost your virginity to your husband, and sex or sexual intercourse was how you basically sealed the marriage, right? So they didn't live, I'm not going to say they didn't live in a culture of being promiscuous. I'm sure that was there too, but the value of being married, having a wife, and saving yourself for your husband was completely different than it is today. Nowadays, if you talk to a girl and she says she's a virgin, she's an anomaly, because girls
She's a
are
gold mine.
yeah, she's a gold mine. And then look, check this out. You might not even really want her, because a virgin isn't somebody that you're gonna see yourself doing all this stuff you see in the music videos and in the movies
Yep.
with. She has no sexual experience. You want the girl that's giving it up easy. And that's what we're being taught nowadays. So the value of marriage nowadays, even with the women, I don't need a man, right? I can do it all on my own.
Oh, wait. Because you actually, let's end that right there. Because while you was talking, listen, Price just teased our next video we're gonna drop for y'all.
Mm.
I was on TikTok, and the question was why men don't approach women anymore. I'm gonna stop right there because that's gonna be our next one. So, like, subscribe, share the video, be on the lookout for that one. You just open up. Listen, I was thinking that, and we're gonna add that in there too. So be on the lookout for it. We're gonna drop that within when you think we're gonna give them to them.
Soon and very
Soon.
soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's stop right there. That's gonna be another one.
All right. All right, bro. So, hey, guys, smash that like button. Follow us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and we also started our LinkedIn page. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you want to check out more content, we're on YouTube, Apple, Google, and Spotify. It's the Black Culture Podcast. Peace.